Welcome to Fast Track Gains. I'm here to help you accelerate your gains. This is the 9th episode of my 4th series, 10 Fitness Commandments, and part 2 of the 7th commandment, 7 nutrients. In part 1, I have introduced the first 3 well-recognized nutrients: clean, lean protein, dietary fiber, and healthy fats. In this part 2, I will introduce the less well-known but no less important other 4 nutrients, as well as the upgrade of this commandment. But before I talk about this more secret ingredient, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. It takes less than a second, costs you nothing, and will help me a great deal in delivering the most efficient muscle building knowledge to the whole world. Really appreciate your support. Now, back to my video. Which other 4 nutrients are the secret ingredients to make the fuel for your body super premium? You may be wondering why single out collagen as one of the most important nutrients. Isn't collagen a protein and an inferior protein because it is incomplete? Yep, I used to think exactly the same way as you until Marxism completely changed my mind on collagen. Clean, lean source of protein is great, way better than fatty cuts, and it would be my preferred choice of protein any time of day. But it does come with quite a drawback: lack of collagen. And while collagenous part of meat does not taste very nice, like the skin, the sinew, the knuckles, collagen is absolutely critical to all your body's connective tissues. It is not just hairs, skin, and nails, but also, more importantly, your joints, tendons, and ligaments, and even bones. They are all made of collagen. Not so far-fetching to say that if you don't have enough collagen, you will age faster and get injured more easily, particularly if you are training with weights. That's why in my previous episode, Achilles heel, the connective tissue part 2, I have listed supplementing collagen as #1 recommendation on how to preserve your connective tissues. In fact, according to Marxism, collagen should be called the 4th macronutrient.
You do recommend a few supplements. I want to talk about 3 of them. Collagen. So collagen should be the 4th macronutrient in my mind. We have, fat, protein, and carbohydrate. And I think collagen should be a separate category because I think it's a critical component of it's collagen in our body. Skin, hair, nails, connective tissue, tendons, ligaments, fascia is all collagen. So the most prevalent amount of protein in our body is of collagen in nature. It's collagenous material. And there's certain collagen peptides that we need to get in order to keep up with the turnover of collagen, and we don't get them in the standard diet today. Until 200 years ago or 100 years ago, we ate all parts of the animal. We ate nose to tail. So you didn't just eat the choice cuts of meat, the prime rib and the T-bone, but you ate the knuckles and the gristle and the organs. And if it was chicken or fish, you ate the skin. And if it was, after all of the nether parts of the animal were consumed, you took the carcass and boiled it down and made a stock. And everybody did that. And so we all had access to collagen. Over the years, as that sort of fell by the wayside, at least in the 50s and 60s, your mother, my mother, they took Knox gelatin for their nails. Remember that? They drank Knox gelatin. Absolutely. And then we had Jell-O. We had Jell-O, which was, give it whatever, assign it whatever value you want. It was a source of collagen. It's gelatin. Gelatin, collagen, pretty much the same thing. So kids got collagen in their diet from gelatin. Well, after Jell-O had a little bit of a falling off because of sugar and sweetness and stuff like that, in the last 10 or 15 years, there's no source of collagen in our diet for anybody. And so we're seeing, like among elite athletes in basketball players who are tearing MCLs, ACLs, and Achilles tendons, and the surgeons will say, geez, I used to be able to have to hack through these sinewy parts, now they cut like butter. It's because people don't get enough collagen in their diet. So I'm a huge fan of consuming collagen. I take, my company makes a collagen supplement. That's how much I liked the results I got when I started taking collagen.
So if you are quote unquote eating clean like a bodybuilder, chicken breast, broccoli, and rice, then collagen supplementation is almost a non-negotiable for you. Briefly mentioned in the second nutrient, dietary fiber. If you don't have a healthy gut, you won't have a jacked body because you are unable to absorb all the nutrients. But the importance of gut health goes way beyond that. To quote from Hippocrates, all disease begins in the gut. Optimal gut health means a great deal to your overall health. And if you are into fitness but don't know what gut microbiome is, then you are living under a rock. Your gut microbiome is made up of the trillions of microscopic organisms called microbes, their genetic material and their byproducts in your intestinal tract. These microbes, mainly comprising bacteria, are involved in functions critical to your health and well-being. They live in your digestive system and they play a key role in digesting food you eat, and they help with absorbing and synthesizing nutrients too. Gut microbes are involved in many other important processes that extend beyond your gut, including your metabolism, body weight, and immune regulation, as well as your brain functions and mood. Obviously, whether you have a healthy gut or not largely depends on your gut microbiome, and feeding them with their preferred food, dietary fiber, to keep them from feeding on you is one of the reasons why dietary fiber is important. However, here we can do something even better. Enhance the function of your gut microbiome by introducing friendly bacteria to your gut microbiome. And it is not just the alive bacteria, even the dead bacteria called polyamines can still have a potent effect on your gut microbiome. So the question becomes, where do we find the foods that contain friendly bacteria? Anything that is fermented but not bad. Sauerkraut, kimchi, tempeh, yogurt, cheese, sour cream. I don't know about you, but I think they all taste great. And say if you can't tolerate the smelly sour taste, just toughen it up and eat it for the sake of your gut health. The name of this nutrient, unless you're a nutrition geek like me, is definitely much less well known to the general public. However, people seem to be vaguely aware of its existence in their daily lives. One good example is blueberries. Everyone knows blueberries are supposed to be very healthy, but for what reason exactly? Apart from the dietary fiber, what really makes blueberries special is the incredibly potent polyphenols they contain. Anthocyanins. Polyphenols are plant compounds that give plants their distinct color, and they have a powerful effect on many things, promoting the growth of beneficial gut bacteria, providing anti-aging effects, controlling blood sugar levels, etc., etc., etc. You know the drift. But here is the practical application. As each polyphenol has its own edge, the best way to combine all different strengths is to eat the rainbow of all fruits and vegetables. The more colors you can include, the darker or the brighter of the colors, the better. Sweet potato, red cabbage, black plums, yellow capsicums, and more. Bottom line is, just broccoli is not enough. Variety is the spice of life, and you need all the colors on your plate. This may be the most controversial, yet the most potent ingredient. That's why I have listed carbohydrates as the last nutrient out of all 7 nutrients. Look, Carbohydrates certainly carry a degree of notoriety nowadays, and for a very good reason. You can absolutely survive without carbohydrates, and the insulin spike caused by it can be very concerning for sedentary people. So, if you're not interested in growing muscle, then there are many other benefits you could enjoy from a low carb or even keto diet. But if you are interested in growing muscle or chasing peak performance, then carbohydrates are critically important because they're the main fuel source for weight training. There's just no other way around it. The pump, the hydration effect of glycogen, the immediate and explosive energy supply as opposed to slow and steady energy supply from fat, the speed up recovery effect. There's a reason why virtually all bodybuilders have high carb diets instead of high fat diets. However, carbohydrates are only important around your weight training session. The rest of the time, they're more likely to be harmful than useful, which means you have to use them strategically. Plan your carbohydrates around your training to boost your training, rather than abusing them all the time and complain about all the side effects. And if you're a Fast and Furious series fan like me, you must be familiar with the importance of nitrous oxide, or NOS, in street racing. Just like Brian would require the NOS to break the speed plateau of his car, carbohydrates are playing exactly the same role in your training. If used only for the short duration of peak performance, then it is incredibly potent. If abused frequently, then you will wear out the engine too soon. You don't need to have carbohydrates in your nutrition, just like you don't need NOS in your fuel to drive the car. But if you do decide to push your body to the limit, then carbohydrates are the NOS you can add to your fuel. Since the inception of 10 Fitness Commandments in November 2023, I kept learning new knowledge and perfecting my own system in last year and a half, as the original commandment has already laid out solid reasoning for each nutrient. In the upgrade, I will give out some food examples that are not the default choice, but arguably the best choices for advanced nutrition application for each nutrient. Clean lean protein. If you default to free-range pasture-raised chicken breast, that's an excellent choice. But if you ask me nowadays, I will tell you that the best choice for clean lean protein is trimmed grass-fed beef. Now, notice I said trimmed grass-fed beef, not just grass-fed beef, because I'm still not a big fan of any animal fat. However, although chicken breast is the least fatty cut of meat you can get from any meat, it lacks micronutrients like vitamin Bs, iron, zinc, selenium, creatine, and many other things. In comparison, grass-fed beef is super rich in all the micronutrients that chicken breast is missing. And when you cut off all the unwanted fat and only retain the lean parts of the beef, voila! You have the highest quality of clean lean protein that is way cleaner with way more micronutrients than chicken breast. Dietary fiber. The default choice would always be fruits and vegetables, and they are both great sources for dietary fiber, particularly vegetables. But there are quite a few hidden superstars that you are not very familiar with. First one, beans. They're super high in dietary fiber, and they're also very high in protein. In fact, if there's only one superfood out there, I'm willing to bet the one superfood is beans. And number two, tubers. They're also very high in fibers. Potato and sweet potatoes. They can be used as your main carbohydrate source and provide quite some dietary fibers. And number three, resistant starch. Cook your rice, put it into fridge overnight, and it will form some resistant starch. This thing will act very much just like dietary fiber. Healthy fats. As dietary fat receives the highest scrutiny, the list of healthy fats is still the same: salmon, whole eggs, avocados, olives, nuts and seeds. Anything else not on the list is not deemed healthy enough. But here, I want to expand on two items on the list that may require some further explanations. Whole eggs. They're the only exception in my book that are high in saturated fat but are still healthy fat sources. Yes, egg yolk contains a lot of saturated fat, but all the other nutrients that whole eggs contain make the case against it almost impossible to stand. All the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, K, and other B vitamins, phosphorus, zinc, selenium, and many, many more things. They call whole eggs the perfect protein for a reason. Olives. I mean olives in fruit form, not in extracted liquid oil form. If you want to use oil in cooking, use extra virgin olive oil spray, not extra virgin olive oil in bottles. Look, liquid oil should really be carefully used in your nutrition because they carry tons of calories, and you never know how much you have used exactly. That's why even olives are some of the best fat sources out there. I do not recommend using the extracted liquid oil form. Collagen. Okay, there's no update on this one. Not only meat cuts that are high in collagen are not very tasty, like chicken feet or knuckles, but they're also high in animal fat. So it is not sensible to get collagen from real food sources. Just buy the collagen supplement. That's a much better option. Friendly bacteria. Fermented foods still have monopoly on this one, but I want to quickly mention the unique importance of cheese here. Generally speaking, fermented foods are more associated with plants and are quite low in protein, just like dietary fibers are associated with plants and are quite low in protein. But cheese is a unique combination that comes both high in protein and high in bacteria. Just like beans is a quite unique combination that comes both high in dietary fibers and high in protein. So, although cheese is a very Western food and it does have a very unique required taste, I'm a big cheese lover, and if you check my previous episode, Hacking into the Ultimate Hypertrophy Code, Late Intermediate, it was cheese that helped me tough out the grinding intermediate phase. So, yes, for me, always extra cheese as long as it is low fat. Polyphenols. The importance of polyphenols goes beyond normal spill, like providing anti-aging effects and controlling your blood sugar levels. If you happen to know Dr. Stephen Gundry and his book, Unlocking the Keto Code, there is one effect you should know: mitochondrial uncoupling. Mitochondrial health is closely related to longevity, and the effect of mitochondrial uncoupling is critical to mitochondria. And polyphenols are one of the 5 key factors that contribute to mitochondrial uncoupling. In fact, I would highly recommend that you watch the video How to Enter Ketosis Without Restrictive Diets with Dr. Stephen Gundry, the Empowering Neurologist, episode 148 on Dr. David Permeter's YouTube channel. So you can see the intrinsic relationship between healthy fats, dietary fiber, mitochondria, gut bacteria, polyphenols, and polyamines, and the desired result of this so-called mitochondria uncoupling. Carbohydrates. The upgrade of this nutrient, just like what more potent nitrous oxide means to high-octane fuel, might be the most important out of all 7 nutrients because it gives you the final edge to beat everyone else in a quarter-mile race. If you happen to know Miloš Sarcev's hypernemia advantage theory, you will know that the most despised carbohydrate out of all, simple sugars, are the key ingredient to growing more muscle when you have plateaued. Utilize the insulin spike to bring more nutrients to the targeted muscles during your training by intra-workout nutrition. Simple sugars are the best solution for naturally enhanced anabolism. Okay, a quick summary of the upgrade. As you can see from the above analysis, when you want to take your nutrition to the next level, thinking only in basic terms of calories, carbs, protein, and fats is not going to be enough. You have to start digging deep into micronutrients, nutrient combinations, ingredient preparations, nutritional timings, and many other details and nuances. And as I've mentioned in my previous episode, Generic Ceiling Height Part 2, Line in the Sand, if you are not prepared to upgrade your nutrition to advanced level, then no matter how hard you train, most likely you will be capped at the generic ceiling height because your nutrition is not advanced enough to support the extra recovery requirement. But just like a Toyota Yaris can still use super premium 98 fuel, anyone can benefit from a better nutrition plan. So, regardless of your physique goal, always remember this. No matter what kind of body you want to have, those should always strive to include all the 7 nutrients. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next commandment. Peace out.